Assalamualaikum everyone. I would like to begin with a thought by William Wordsworth about nature. Nature did never betray the heart that loved her. These words prepare us to understand the depth of the poem, lines written in early spring. The poet sits quietly in the lap of nature surrounded by its beauty. The soft singing of birds, the gentle movement of branches, and the freshness of spring. Everything around him is filled with peace, clarity, balance, and quiet joy. For a moment, it feels like everything in the world is perfect. But then a thought disturbs this peace. The poet begins to reflect not on the nature but on human actions. And suddenly, this calm scene soon turns into the moment of deep realization. What man has made of man. In this line, the poet questions human actions. It's not just a line, it's a cry from poet. While nature lives in harmony, human often create division, conflict, and unrest. The poet believes that living beings were meant to live in harmony, while nature follows the truth peacefully and with clarity, but somewhere along the way, humans have forgotten it. The realization doesn't make him angry, but it makes him sorrowful. The poem is not just about nature, it's about a mirror held up to humanity. It asks us to stop, to think, and to change. In conclusion, Wordsworth reminds us that peace is not something we need to create. It already exists in the nature. We simply just need to learn from it. If nature can live in harmony without conflict, then perhaps the real question is, why can't we? With this thought, I conclude my presentation and thank you for your kind attention.
Good afternoon, everyone. In lines written in early spring, William Wordsworth shows the quiet beauty of nature. He sits among trees and listens to birds singing happily. Flowers bloom and everything feels full of life and peace. Nature seems joyful and pure. But the poet also feels a gentle sadness. He thinks about humans, how lost their goodness and peace while nature lives in harmony. And people have made life unhappy. The poem reminds us to learn from nature and live with the kindness and calmness.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Respected teacher, my dear brothers and sisters, today I stand before you to give presentation on poem Lines Written in Early Spring. Lines Written in Early Spring is a thoughtful poem written by William Wordsworth. In this poem, the poet sits in a quiet and beautiful nature place during early spring. He observes the beauty of nature around him, including flowers, birds, and green plants, the peaceful atmosphere and green plants, the peaceful atmosphere and the sweet sounds of birds make him feel calm and happy. However, while enjoying the nature, the poet suddenly becomes sad when he thinks about the action of humans. He feels that humans have broken the harmony of nature through selfishness, cruelty, and conflict. Wordsworth believes that there is a deep connection between human soul and nature. The poem showed that joy of nature and sorrow caused by human behavior. Through the poem, the poet gives that message that humans should learn from the nature and live peacefully with each other and respect the natural world. Thank you and
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I is going to give a presentation on the line is written in early spring by William Wordsworth. It's a deep meaning poem that shows us the value of environment. The poet describes nature as the harmony and tells us that the birds are enjoying and singing the songs and the trees open their leaves to breathe and make clean air and makes our environment. He also tells us that the nature calms our souls and makes us feel peaceful. But soon he becomes sad, as he thought that the nature was not always like this. It was far more beautiful than humans came into existence. The humans always battle against each other and destroy the nature's beauty and have very deep life. And then he said very deep life. What man has made of man. In my words, I will say that the human have only created destruction. And the humanity has extinct from every human's heart.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. Today I am going to give presentation on the poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. The poem describes the beauty and happiness of nature during the early spring season. The poet sits in a quiet and peaceful place surrounded by trees, flowers and birds. He observes how everything in nature seems joyful and light. The birds are singing sweetly and moving freely in the air. The flowers are blooming and trees appear fresh and full of life, all parts of nature seem to live in harmony and peace. While watching this beautiful scene, the poet started thinking about human life. He feels sad because humans have created suffering and destroyed the harmony that exists in nature. The poet feels that nature follows what it means and gives life happily. But humans have moved away from this peaceful way of living. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Zad and I'm here to give a presentation on the poem Lines Written in Early Spring. The poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth is a marvelous poem that teaches many valuable things. The poet describes the harmony and joy of nature. He describes how birds enjoy their life, how flowers show their beauty, and how trees open their leaves to breathe clean air. But suddenly the poet becomes sad. He remembers how beautiful the nature was and what humans have done to it. They have been waging wars against each other since their existence and destroying nature in different ways. And due to this, the poet remembers what man has made of man. The poet remembers that humans were meant to stay in brotherhood, but they did opposite to each other. But they did opposite to this. They destroyed humanity and killed each other. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today I am going to give a presentation on lines written in Hadith. Lines written in Hadith spring by plain words, which underlie what to do, beautifully balanced joy, quiet silence. As the quiet sits in the calm embrace of nature, surrounded by global floods and significant chaos, he feels a deep sense of peace and happiness. Yet this immediate scene traveled by a plain chaos, that while nature lives in perfect harmony with romance and suffering and to dedicate a luxury emotion to reminds us that nature is pure, simple, and pure. While man is focused on the power of this connection and respect. The most softly for us to pause and try to reveal our lost the nature of our peace fighting.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Tabrajan, going to deliver a presentation on Lines Written in Early Spring, written by William Wordsworth. The poet sits peacefully in nature, surrounded by its soft music. This calm beauty fills his heart with joy. Yet, strangely, it also awakens a deep sadness within him. It shows how sensitive his mind is. Nature does just please him. It makes him reflect deeply on life. His happiness is not complete because even in beauty he cannot escape the painful truth of human experience. Here lies the heart of the poem. The poem deals nature and the human soul were meant to be in harmony, but this thought breaks his heart because humans have destroyed this young bond through greed and injustice. As he looks at the flowers, the poet feels that quiet nature is pure joy. The flowers seem to breathe happiness untouched by pain or conflict. This moment highlights a painful contrast. While nature lives in harmony, humans have lost the simple innocent happiness. The poem ends with a powerful and emotional question. If nature is truly created to live in peace and joy, then why have humans chosen a path of suffering and destruction? The poet's heart is filled with the sorrow and disappointed. He mourns not just for the individual but for all humanity, for losing its faith, its innocence, and its punishment.
Lines written in early spring by William Wordsworth expresses the poet's deep love for nature as well as sadness about life. In this poem, the poet sits in a peaceful, natural setting surrounded by trees, flowers, and birds. Everything in nature appears joyful and full of harmony as they are quietly celebrating life. This makes the poet feel peaceful and emotionally connected to nature. He believes that nature lives in unity and balance. where every element enjoys its existence. However, this happiness of nature suddenly makes him thoughtful and brings sadness to his heart. He begins to think about human beings and realizes that humans have lost their innocence and natural harmony. Unlike nature, human life is full of suffering, conflicts, and unrest. Through this poem, he conveys an important message that people should try to live in harmony, peace, and simplicity. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am here to give presentation. The line is written in early springs by William Burns. Shows the quiet beauty of nature. She sits among the trees and listens to the birds' songs. The happy flower he sees the happy flowers blooming, and he feels his life full of peace and joy. At the same time, White feels a gentle sadness, and he thinks about the humans have been spoiled this nature. The people had made their own lives an unhappy life by destroying the nature and they killed the humanity.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I stand in front of you to deliver a presentation on Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. In this poem, the poet sitting in a calm natural place, he hears birds sing around him and enjoys the nature. He said that the human soul is linked with nature, still they have caused pain and suffering to nature. He observed plants and animals around him. They seemed to enjoy the fresh air. He saw birds hopping and playing in the group, which made him happy. He said that nature gives all useful things to humans, but humans only destroy the nature.
Good afternoon to everyone present here. Today I, Mohammed Binyamin, stand in front of you to give presentation on the poem Lines Written in Early Spring, written by William Wordsworth. The poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth is a poem with a deep and a powerful meaning. In the poem, poet shows us the importance and the value of the nature and of the nature. In the poem, while William Wordsworth was sitting in a peaceful and a calm place, suddenly he heard the songs sung by different species of birds in the moon. At the time, he felt very happy, but in his good mood, some sad thoughts came into his mind and made him think about what man has made of man. The man have always caused destruction. The humans always battle against each other and destroy the nature's beauty. At last, I want to say that the man has always made destruction and the humanity has extincted from the heart of every human being.
Respected teacher and my dear classmates, today I am going to present the poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. The poet is staying in a quiet and beautiful place surrounded by trees, flowers and birds. He hears many sweet natural sounds which he calls thousand blended notes, as if nature is playing music. Everything around him feels peaceful and joyful. But while enjoying this beauty, the poet suddenly feels sad. When he thinks about humans, he realizes that people often hurt each other and disturb the harmony that exists in nature. That's why he asks the powerful question, what man has made of man? This line makes us think deeply about our actions. Through this poem, the poet gives us an important message. We should learn from nature and try to live peacefully, kindly and in harmony. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, respected teacher and my dear classmates. Today I am going to present a presentation on a beautiful poem, Lines Written in Early Springs by William Wordsworth. The poem is set in the peaceful season of spring. The poet is sitting in a calm and natural environment surrounded by trees, flowers and birds. As he looks around, he sees how everything in nature is full of life and happiness. The birds are singing, the flowers are blooming, and the air feels fresh and pleasant. At one point, should grieve my heart to think what man has made of man. This line shows his deep sadness about human life. Although nature is happy and peaceful, the poet feels upset when he thinks about humans. He believes that humans have moved away from nature and lost their kindness, simplicity, and peace. And instead of living in harmony, people create problems and conflicts and sadness. In my opinion, this poem is very relevant even today. We can see that people are busy in their lives using phones, cutting trees, and harming the environment. We are forgetting the beauty that nature gives us and the peace that nature gives us. The poet wants to teach us an important lesson that we should learn from nature. Nature lives in harmony, and if we follow it, we can also live in a peaceful and happy life. In conclusion, this poem reminds us that the true happiness lies in simplicity and connection with nature. If we respect nature, we can make our world a better place. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. Today I stand before you to deliver a presentation on the poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. The poem presents a peaceful natural setting where the poet sits among trees, flowers, and birds that hope and play joyfully, showing the beauty of nature, harmony, and happiness of nature. However, while observing this present scene, the poet becomes thoughtful and sad as he reflects on human life and realizes that humans have caused destruction, suffering, pain, and injustice, which he expresses in the line, "What man has made of man," highlighting the contrast between the purity of nature and the negativity of human actions, and ultimately conveying the message that people should learn from nature's peace and live with kindness, harmony, and respect for others.
In front of you to deliver a presentation on a topic named as so far known as Lines Written in the Early Spring, written by William Wordsworth. In this poem, the poet sitting in a calm natural place. He hears birds singing around him and enjoys the nature. He said that human soul is linked with the nature, still they cause pain and suffer to one another. He observed that plants, flowers in him seem beautiful. They enjoy the fresh air. He saw birds hopping and playing, made him happy.
Good afternoon everyone. Today I am going to give a presentation on the poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. It is a moral poem that teaches us many valuable things. The poet describes the harmony and joy of nature. He describes how birds enjoy, how flowers open their how flowers open their leaves to breathe fresh air. But suddenly the poet becomes sad. He remembers how beautiful the nature was and what humans have done to it. They have been waging wars against each other since their existence. And the poet thinks and says what man has made of man. The poet remembers that humans were meant to stay with each other in brotherhood, but they did the exact opposite of this. They destroyed humanity and cruelty.
Today I am going to refer to Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. This poem is written by William Wordsworth in early spring in 1794. In this poem, poet explains India trying to oppose French Revolution. The poem wants to explain on one hand nature's beauties and humans try to destroy this nature. The humans have ended their humanity by destroying the nature. So the poet wants to say that the nature.
Good afternoon, respected teacher and my dear classmates. Today I am going to give a presentation on a beautiful lesson written by William Wordsworth. This poem beautifully reflects the deep connection between nature and human emotions. The poet is sitting in a quiet, natural setting, surrounded by birds, flowers, and fresh spring air. Nature appears joyful and harmonious, as if every element is living in perfect balance. However, this peaceful scene makes the poet thoughtful. While nature expresses happiness and unity, the poet feels sorrow. When he thinks about humanity, he questions why humans have moved away from nature and created sufferings instead of harmony. Nature follows a divine and a pure plan, but humans have disturbed this natural order through their actions. At last, I would like to say these lines. This poem is not just about nature, but a reflection on how far humans have drifted from simplicity and harmony. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respected teacher and my dear classmates, today I am going to present a presentation on Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. The poet sits peacefully in nature, surrounded by its soft music. This calm beauty fills his heart with joy, yet strangely, it also awakens a deep sadness within him. It shows how sensitive his mind is. Nature does not just please him, it makes him reflect deeply on life. His happiness is not complete because even in beauty, he cannot escape the painful truths of human existence. The poet feels that nature and the human soul were meant to be in harmony. But this thought breaks his heart because humans have destroyed that bond through cruelty, greed, and injustice. Even the smallest parts of nature, the young leaves seems alive with joy. They reach out to the breeze as if embracing life itself. The poet strongly believes that happiness exists in every corner of nature. The poem ends with a powerful and emotional question. If nature is truly created to live in peace and joy, then why have humans chosen a path of suffering and destruction? The poet's heart is filled with sorrow and disappointment. He mourns not just for individuals, but for all humanity, for losing its innocence and its connection to nature. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Madhiha Tabassum. Today, I am going to present the poem Lines Written in Early Spring, written by William Wordsworth. In this poem, the poet is staying in a peaceful natural place surrounded by trees, flowers, and birds. He is in a calm and thoughtful mood. As he listens to the sounds of nature, he feels both happiness and sadness at the same time. The beauty of nature makes him feel relaxed and joyful. He notices how the birds are happily hopping and playing, and how the flowers seem to enjoy the fresh air. Everything in nature appears to live in harmony and peace. However, while observing this beauty, the poet suddenly begins to feel sad. He starts thinking about human beings and how people treat each other. This thought disturbs his peaceful mood. He compares the peaceful life of nature with the actions of humans. Nature is full of joy, innocence, and balance, but humans cannot live as peacefully as nature. In the end, the poem shows the poet's deep love for nature and his disappointment with humanity. He feels that humans have moved on from the simplicity and harmony of the natural world. In conclusion, the poet shows that the nature is peaceful and happy, while human life is often full of conflict. The poet wants to learn from nature and live in harmony. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Fatma Sadaf, and I'm here to give a presentation on poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. Imagine sitting in a quiet forest. You hear 1,000 blended notes of birds. The air is fresh and everything feels perfect. This is the scene that William Wordsworth sets in his poem Lines Written in Early Spring. But as he sits, a sad thought hits his mind. The poet looks at the flowers, the birds, and even the budding twigs, and makes a bold claim. Nature is happy. He believes that every flower enjoys the air it breathes, and that the birds move with a thrill of pleasure. He calls this nature's holy plan, and world a joy and connection. But then he looks at us, at humanity, and he asks the most important question of this poem. What man has made of man? The poet is holding up a mirror to our species. He's pointing out the painful truth. While the rest of the world is living in harmony, we humans often choose conflict and greed. We have the blueprint of peace right in front of us, in the trees, in the birds, but we are walking away from it. And if simple flowers can find joy in just breathing, why do we find it hard
just live in peace. Let us try to reconnect with the holy plans of nature and fix what man has made of man.
Nature silently teaches us what humanity has forgotten. Good afternoon, respected teacher and my dear friends. My name is Isra Tariq and today I am going to present a deeply reflective and provoking poem. Line is written in early spring by William Wordsworth. This poem is taken from Lyrical Ballads, published in 1798, which was co-authored with S.T. Coleridge.